Okay, my friends, one last guest to go, and I wanted to end the show with this individual because I feel like we need him now more than ever. You will recall prior and after Mayweather-McGregor last year, we met Chris Eubank. Of course, you all probably know Chris Eubank, but that's when we really met him on this program. That's when we really were able to learn about his brilliance and truly appreciate just how great of a mind he is, right? I mean, those 2 interviews that we did with him, the highlight for me personally of covering Mayweather-McGregor. Well, on Saturday night, as you know, it was a bit of a dark time in our sport, a black eye, if you will, the brawl and whatnot. It should have been a great celebration. It was a great night, but then the post-fight stuff sort of marred it all. I thought, you know what? Now more than ever, we need to hear from Chris Eubank. We need to finish this show on a positive note, on an inspirational note. And so without further ado, let me say hello once again to the great, to the legendary Chris Eubank. Chris, how are you?
I'm excellent. I'm very, very good. Thank you. You make me blush. People can't see because my complexion is dark, but you're very kind.
Well,
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you coming on. Now, Chris, can I ask you a question? Are you on a speakerphone right now?
Yes, I am.
Is it possible to pick up the phone? Because I want to hear you crystal clear. You have the greatest voice in all the land, and I just want to hear you as crystal clear as possible. And it's a bit echoey on the speakerphone.
Okay, I thought that would be better, but okay, here we go.
This is infinitely better.
How's that?
This is much better.
Okay, very good.
Chris, it is so great to hear from you. We haven't talked in over a year. How are you doing?
Excellent, yes. I'm on duty here in Louisiana.
Okay.
Doing what I do for the youth, which is always to steer them away from stupidity, steer them away from the penal system. So, yes, I do public relations for the Marshal's office.
Now, do you live in Louisiana?
I don't. I travel here to do the work with the youth. There are some very talented youth here in this little small town, and I'm going to see whether I can get a few of them to realize their goals, whether it be in basketball or boxing or other sports, American football, and it's good. It's fulfilling.
Well, I love it. I love what you're doing. It's great for the youth, and they are very lucky to have you in their lives. Of course, as I said at the top, I wanted to have you on the show because I feel like we're all a little bit down. It was a bit of a tough night on Saturday, and I wanted to know right off the bat, if you watched the fight, you did, correct?
Yes, I watched the fight, and, we try to take the silver lining from everything. There is nutrient in everything. And there's also perhaps a simple explanation when one moves aside all the things which distract you from the point. And the point is always about being a warrior, which these 2 men exemplified.
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep in mind that warriors are not really normal people. They do exceptional things. They behave in exceptional ways, in that they contest against other men on the rules and regulations. A great deal of pressure is under which they live, makes them sometimes volatile. But as Bruce Lee always tried to point out, you're supposed to flow. You're supposed to be harmonious. You're supposed to be calm, cool, collected. In fact, it reminds me of the Warrior's Code, which is a philosophy that we as fighters, as warriors, we try to, or we aspire to be it. It's difficult to achieve this status because you're always in situations where people can annoy you and people try to make you lose your cool. The idea is always to aspire to be a warrior, and the code goes as follows. The warrior is strong, yet his sleep is fragile. His wisdom, an amalgamation of precedent, yet his decisions cannot be based on the frailties of man. He is rather fueled by divine inspiration, ascending from the heart. He knows not anger and only fears the unknown. The warrior does not dream of frontiers. He only sees horizons. The warrior is a creature of irony, for his genuine task is to ensure peace. The true warrior knows, accepts, and embraces, above all, integrity, which is his course in life, reason, and the application of reason, which is his only weapon, and forgiveness, the one true cleansing virtue. And only when one can fully absorb these most divine of all virtues can one at last see how impossible and futile it is to make war.
Well done. Well done, Chris. Did you commit that to memory?
I committed it to memory some years ago. It was written by a lady called Yasmin Pons. It's beautiful, and it sums up what we try to aspire to. So going back to the contest, so rather than talk about all the distractions, the fight was great. There is a term used by the English centuries ago, which goes as follows. The king is dead. Long live the king. So there's been a transition to a new king. This new king, whether you like it or not, he is the new king. So if we keep our minds on what this is really about, he has done the job. I'm a big fan of warriors. I don't take sides. I'm looking to be entertained. I don't really know both men, but I admire what they do. Or we admire what they do, because many of us do not have the courage to do what they do. Which brings me to this.
Please.
Which brings me to this point. The new king, what he did was that he beat his opponent comprehensively. This can only be admired. He is the new king. All the controversy for what he did after is based really on him protecting his honor. Those things of which he has been brought up to respect and hold dear to his heart. So honoring his parents, honoring his religion, honoring his country. The way in which he exemplified his stance as a man, the way in which he exemplified how much it means to him, he did something that really only, the man is now in a pantheon of very few names. Jack Johnson, Muhammad Ali, men who stood up against the wrongs of those deplorable old days when there was bigotry. Obviously, there still is. When there was racism, these men stood up for and against that. The new king, in him jumping into the cauldron, into the enemy's den by himself, without security, that bravery exemplified it It exemplified what a warrior is, and at his core, he is that. It was amazing. It was astounding. It was astonishing. It was extraordinary. Remarkable, phenomenal, staggering. It was breathtaking. It was stupendous. What he did, of course, there will be repercussions because there are rules and regulations that he should be following. Not least the fact that warriors do not and are not supposed to behave in this way. But what he did, as I say, was remarkable. And he will pay a price, I'm sure. The authorities will not accept this type of behavior. Nevertheless, again, the man was the new king, was protecting his honor. And who of us would do it in such a magnificent way? They will be writing books about what he did. Hollywood, I'm sure, have already got scripts being written for what he did because it doesn't happen. We look at Conor McGregor and we admire how brazen he is, brazen, fearless, outrageous. It's entertaining. It's fantastic theater. It's wonderful to look at. It engages the public. The new king has taken it to a different level, climbing over the octagon and running into the enemy's den. Oh my goodness. Breathtaking. Unimaginable. When I was a young man, I was inspired by characters like D'Artagnan. Chivalry is what they practiced. They always looked after the weak. They always protected those who were in need. And they would do these acts of heroic acts of chivalry. This, what I saw from the new king, reminded me of such. The truth is, I'm a purist as a boxer. I've never really understood or taken to MMA until now, until that performance. Wow. So I think you're going to see me around the circuit more often now. Just moving slightly. You haven't asked me any questions, so I just keep on talking, but there was also another fighter on the card called the Black Beast. His performance was pure theater. And the man's real. And being a purist, as a fighter, I must say that it's the most entertaining card I've seen for years, many years. High entertainment. So MMA, wow. I didn't get it before. I get it now.
This is the first time that you get it. Is this the first time that you've actually sat down and watched a full card?
Yes.
Wow. And you're hooked. You have caught the bug.
Oh, and it is a bug.
Wow.
It really is. I mean, look, boxing is sophisticated. It isn't uncouth. It looks sophisticated. It looks elegant. This is ugly. It is. But once you get into the characters, and now that I've gotten into the characters and their backstory, it's highly entertaining.
Would you say that it's more entertaining than boxing right now to you?
Well, you see, that's political. And we don't do politics.
All right.
Any more questions?
Yes, I have plenty of questions. What did you make of Conor's performance? Because I know you said the long live the king. The king is dead, but Conor, did you feel like Conor represented himself?
Of course. He built the fight as he always does. Um, you know, he engaged the world of entertainment. His performance was good. The new king's performance was great.
Yes. Do you feel like Khabib should be reprimanded for his actions, or should we understand, given what you just said, the emotion, the honor involved in his actions?
I'm sure that the authorities will have to actually do what they have in their manuals. There are rules, and if you don't follow them, then you are penalized, and you are fined, and you are... Now, I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm sure he's prepared for that because, and certainly with a man like him, it seems, it's not about money. It's about honor, which is actually what warriors are supposed to be about. Honor first. Maybe the money second, but honor. Honor. That's why you stay there and you take a beating, and you don't leave that position of taking a beating because you can't win. You do it because it's the right thing to do, because that's the integrity of a warrior.
So on this Monday, Chris, as fans are saying this was a black eye, this was a dark day, you are saying no, do not view it that way. There was beauty in what transpired after that fight.
We are all flawed as human beings. We are all flawed. But let's look back. Let's look back at those who have been brazen enough to do something like what the new king did. Mike Tyson. I mean, that's as far back as I can go to really engage the mind of the public for what was so real, for how phenomenal he was as a spirit. He was like a volcano. He was a force of nature. You loved him or you hated him, but you could not be indifferent. No one can say that this man has not been a great exponent of the arts, or the art of boxing, or entertainment. No one can say that. No, we all admire fighters who are brazen, if you're going to speak straight, and if we're not going to use more than one face. We kind of love to hate it, don't we? Those who will not be reined in. He knew what he shouldn't have done, but his honor said, well, okay, this is more important. And the authorities, as I said, will do what they will do. And I'm sure he'll be happy with it. Because when you're talking about warriors of his caliber, the fines, if he is fined, the suspensions, if he is suspended, all of these things only make him bigger. Bigger in as much as ego. It's, wow, they did that to him. It makes the story, which is what everything is about, a story. The story that he made Saturday night is a story that will be spoken about for years and years to come. And yes, he will pay a financial price. I'm sure he will. And I'm sure he will be reprimanded. I'm sure they're going to throw the book at him. But my thinking My thinking, because of the fact that I've been a former participant, is that it will not matter. Because the most important thing to him is always to protect his honor, his dignity. And so he will be holding his head up high. He has apologized. And keep in mind, the behavior of Conor, there are many things that can be picked upon in his behavior. How come it's okay for him but not okay for others? I'm not taking sides. What I'm doing is making an observation. When he does it, it's accepted and it's like, wow, the great man. Well, there's always someone greater around the corner. However badass you are, there's always someone more badass around the corner. And this is what we saw on the weekend. The spectacle, to me, was wonderful. Why? Because everybody is talking about it. That's entertainment. Controversy. If there isn't any controversy, there isn't a market.
See, now I feel better about everything. I just needed your insight. I needed your brilliance. I needed your mind to let me know that it's all okay. That it wasn't so bad.
It is. No, not at all. You know, this person, when he comes back to fight, whenever it is, it's only going to generate more, not less. There are scores of people in authority who think and who will say out loud and with a lot of energy, they will say his behavior was reprehensible. That is what warriors, they're always on that fine line. If one of the combatants goes to hospital, it creates what? Controversy. It doesn't make people shy away. It makes people come. Sensationalism. What's the story? Who has done something like what this man did? Who? I mean, I was brazen. And I'm not being self-effacing when I say this, but I'm admired for how staunch, for my grit. You know, I never shied away from a beating. I always stood up for what was correct. It got me into a lot of trouble, but that didn't cause dislike. In years to come, it allows people to admire, because only so many people can stand up for what is right. And keep in mind, again, Conor has been a fantastic exponent for MMA, but it has gone to a different level. I don't know whether the new king can advertise and promote MMA like Conor. Conor he's been marvelous. He has been extraordinary for the sport. In fact, I can't see that anyone could highlight the sport like a Conor McGregor. You know, this young man, the new king, what can you say? He's silent but deadly, which is a wonderful. It's a wonderful perception. Silent but deadly.
Well done, Chris. I must say, it was always such a pleasure to hear from you. Are there any final thoughts that you want to say about your experience watching the UFC in totality for the first time, having a chance to take this in as a long-time pugilist yourself, having a chance to watch this? Anything come to mind? Anything you want to share with us? I mean, we're hardcores here, as you know. We're living in a bubble, so it's always nice to see someone coming from another world and appreciate, the sport that we love so dearly. And yes, we were feeling a little down this weekend because we felt like maybe our sport wasn't being seen in the best light. You have now shined the best kind of light in our sport in an amazing turn of events. Is there anything you want to leave us with?
Yes. Yes. The godfather of the martial arts is Bruce Lee.
Yes.
This what I'm going to recite to you
Okay.
isn't from him, but it explains everything that Bruce Lee tried to explain about the martial arts. This is called Song of the Soul.
Okay.
So the warrior, keep in mind, warriors are trying to actually they're trying to be this. But it's so fragile. It's a juxtaposition. You are a warrior, and at the same time you have to be gentle. Fierce, most certainly, in combat. But the mindset is that of a teacher. In the martial arts, they use the word sensei. Song of the Soul. So if you can imagine, this is what makes a great fighter.
Mm.
It goes as follows.
Okay.
Ego. Ego says, I am neither ego nor reason. I am neither mind nor thought. I cannot be heard or cast into thought, nor by sight or smell ever caught. In light and wind I am not found, nor yet in earth and sky. Consciousness and joy incarnate, bliss of the blissful am I. I have no name, I have no life, I breathe no vital air. No elements have molded me, no bodily sheath is my lair. I have no speech, no hands, no feet, no means of evolution. Consciousness and joy am I, and bliss and disillusion. I cast aside hatred and passion, I conquered the delusion and greed. No touch of pride caressed me, so envy never did breed. Beyond all faith, past reach of wealth, past freedom, past desire, consciousness and joy am I, and bliss is my attire. Virtue and vice, no pleasure and pain are not my heritage. No sacred texts or offerings, nor prayers, nor pilgrimage. I'm neither food, nor eating, nor yet the eater am I. Consciousness and joy incarnate, bliss of the blissful am I. I have no misgivings of death. No chasms of race divides me. No parent ever called me child. No bond of birth did tie me. I am neither disciple nor master. I have no kin, no friend. Consciousness and joy am I, and merging with bliss is my end. Neither knowledgeable, knower, nor knowledge am I. Formless is my form. I dwell within the senses, but there is not my home. Ever serenely balanced, neither free nor bound, consciousness and joy am I, and bliss is where I'm found. Wow. Thank you.
I'm going to give you a standing ovation here. As I don't want to go out of frame, but I'm just standing up. You can't see me, but I'm standing up. Chris, you are a treasure. I am so happy that I've had the opportunity to meet you last year. That's the best thing to come from Mayweather McGregor. You always have a home here. One of these days, again, I'd love to have you in studio. We could talk face to face. But thank you for ending our day on the most uplifting note possible. You have given us a gift.
You are welcome, and I will look forward to speaking to you in the not-too-distant future.
All the best to you, Chris. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Okay, all the best.
There he is. Chris Eubank. I mean, what can you say? Is there a better day? That is my gift to the world. via him. I mean, is there a better way to end your day? Take that, bottle it up. You're feeling down about anything, not just MMA, about anything. Listen to that. Treasure. We are now better people because we listen to that. Thank you very much to Chris. Thank you to all our guests. Quick note before I say goodbye. Couple of updates for you as we get ready for the post show. I just want to let you know that our own Brett Okamoto of ESPN reporting that the Nevada Athletic Commission will file complaints about Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor for their post-fight actions. That, according to the Nevada Athletic Commission chairman, Anthony Marnell, they are conducting a full investigation. Also want to let you know, courtesy of our friend Mark Ramundi of MMA Fighting, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department is saying that they are, quote, they assisted with breaking up several small fights. After all the parties were separated, no one involved wished to press charges. No arrests occurred. So they are not exploring that at this time. We will wait and see what happens as far as the Nevada Athletic Commission is concerned. Coming up on iTunes and YouTube and all those places, we'll be taping our post-fight show, so stay tuned for that. There's a lot to discuss. Get New York Rick's thoughts on 229, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the big winners, Dominic Reyes, Michelle Watterson, Jussier Formiga, Aspen Ladd, Scott Holtzman, Nick Lentz, Tony Martin, to name a few. We'll talk a little more UFC 230. We shall talk about John Jones, who I spoke to last week. Remember that? Came out on Thursday, spoke to John Jones, little PFL, and then we'll set the table for Bellator. But for now, you can hit my music. And there she is. What a day it has been. By the way, I want to say, Tony Ferguson unfortunately had to cancel. Didn't get a reason, but hopefully we'll be able to talk to him soon. If you want to hear from Tony, we spoke to him on the post-fight show. You can get that on ESPN Plus and also YouTube, a portion of it. Everyone calm down. I see all your tweets. I see everything that you're saying about this guy who punched that guy, who did this guy, who did that. Enough. Enough is enough. Enough. We've had 2 days to break this down. Time to move on. Tit for tat. What Conor did was indefensible back in April. What Khabib did, in my opinion, was indefensible. You don't jump over. And I understand the honor, I understand the code, but we're square now. No one was seriously hurt. People were affected mentally, emotionally, physically, but there are no super long-term effects here. Let us move on and let us learn from this. And let us understand that sometimes there are things that should not be talked about. Let us learn from this. This is not the end of this saga, as Conor reminded us. Thank you to everyone who stopped by. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to all our guests today. Thank you very much to Luke Rockhold, Chael Sonnen, everyone who stopped by. Matt Mitrione, Chris Eubank. Trying to go off the top of my head here. Who else? Kevin Lee. And, of course, the great Matt Hughes. All the best to Matt. Back next week. Same time and place. Till I say peace.